Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Cherntex Multimedia, streaming live to your device, straight from Brisbane. Hi, we have got lots to talk about today. The final night of Sivratri at Lakshmi Narayan Temple, and we'll also look at the live coverage from Trevor Evans' breakfast this morning at the Paddington Business Hub, which was held at the Broncos League Club. Once again, good to see people getting back together in once and about. And of course, Osha Chandra is attending the real estate breakfast at Victoria Park. That one we'll bring to you probably tomorrow or Monday. But there's a lot more which is out and happening again. Well, right now, before we go into all of those news, let's take a look at what's in store for us in this weekend, because it is Friday and there's so much that's happening out there and so much of planning that needs to be done. With the outlook for the rest of the weekend, let's welcome Dilraj.
Good morning everyone. Weather forecast for the rest of today is maximum 28 degree. Brisbane area is partly cloudy with very high chance of showers, mainly along the coast in the morning, tending to become medium chance in the afternoon and developing inland. The chance of a thunderstorm on the coast in the morning and inland in the afternoon. Light winds becoming northeasterly 15 to 20 km per hour in the middle of the day and then becoming light in the evening. Fire danger is low to moderate. Sun protection is recommended till 3:30 and UV index is predicted to reach 10, that is very high. Tomorrow, that is Saturday, minimum will be 29 and maximum will be minimum will be 22 and maximum will be 29. Brisbane area will be partly cloudy with slight chance of shower in the morning and afternoon. There is chance of thunderstorm in the west in the afternoon. On Sunday, minimum will be 21 and maximum will be 31. Brisbane area will be mostly sunny with very slight chance of shower in the evening. Light winds becoming north to northeasterly 15 to 20 km per hour during the afternoon, then becoming light during the evening. Over the weekend, sun protection is recommended from 8:20 in the morning till 3:30 in the afternoon, and UV index is predicted to reach 10, that is very high. Till tomorrow, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day.
And thank you very much for that update, Dilraj. As we know that the weekend's here, and of course, always take care when going in and out and about, and of course, exercise those due care, which is written by the rules, meaning, that functions have started happening. You are going to lots of functions, but be mindful of the COVID restrictions and please try and take those precautions, because I've seen that people do carried away, and once people get carried away, they do not, take into account all the precautions that they normally should, and that could cause a bit of problems. So, right now it's time to go to the top stories for today, and let's take a look at what's happening and what's making news right now. So, in top stories, we have in this update, the government and the tourism plan to support then has been slammed as too narrow. And health officers say COVID-19 vaccine rollout has been slowed substantially due to importing issues, as we know. And more than a dozen prominent disability organizations are calling out for the rollout of independent ND assessment. And as we know that yesterday I did attend a seminar on the south side on that same matter, where the uptake of NDIS within the multicultural or the cold community has been only 20%. So, that really needs to happen. So the assessments need to be done immediately. And Japan has paused to remember 2011 tsunami earthquake which killed nearly 20,000 people. And questions to the federal government's tourism package and vaccination schedule are raised in the Q&A. The government's plan to save regional tourism have been slammed by opposition and industry insiders for not being broad enough, while the vaccine rollout has also been criticized being behind schedule. Federal Treasurer Josh Frydenberg says that the issues for the day, including stoppage of JobKeeper. He was here in Brisbane, of course, as well. The vaccine rollout and the allegations around several key members of the government. These are breaking news. And federal government retreats to earlier vaccination rollout targets. For months now, the government has been promising Australians will be vaccinated by October. But today, it became very clear that many people possibly won't get the second dose of the coronavirus vaccine until December. A 1.2 billion package to the tourism industry as the end of JobKeeper approaches. And today's tourism package has been announced just weeks before the federal government's JobKeeper wage subsidy comes to an end. The JobKeeper program, which provides financial support to businesses so they can pay workers, will cease on 28th of March. The government says the cheap flights will help the tourism industry as JobKeeper comes to an end. But some are skeptical. Rex Airline Qantas will get the bulk of the 1.2 billion tourism rescue package. But Rex Deputy Chairperson John Saab says his airline was left out of the discussions on the government's half-price airfares and didn't get a say in the destinations on offer. So, that is the news of the hour. And Sedo, Western Australia Treasurer Shane Lestrange is grilled on costing 2 days out from the Western Australia election. China tensions put more Australian trade sectors at risk. INU Professor Dr. Jane Gooley says more Australian sectors could be hit by trade sanctions if Japan is displeased with the virtual Quad meeting. Disability advocates rally against NDIS changes. The government says it will make the scheme fair and equitable for Australians. But many people with disability fear they will lose essential support. Could magic mushrooms and asceti help mental health issues? Psychedelic drugs such as LSD and magic mushroom are legal in this country, but overseas they are being used to treat depression and other forms of mental illness with some startling results. So whether they'll become legal here or not is another matter. Now a group of prominent Australians are spearheading a campaign for the clinical use of the drugs here, arguing that it could change the lives of people struggling with conditions such as PTSD. Why? Temperatures in major cities could be high as 65 degrees. Pockets of Western Sydney in particular have a grim outlook for the lack of tree cover and possibility adding to as much as 15 degrees for the hottest day. Now to finance. It is not just house prices going up, so did the Aussie dollar and travel stocks thanks to today's cut price fare announcement. Fear of a mortgage debt disaster. Australia's largest housing market research a new high record, sparkling fears property buyers will take on too much debt on a time when responsible lending laws were set to be wound back. And now to world news. Australia's economist wife speaks out about his detention in Myanmar. St. Turnbull's wife says limited communications with her husband was been terrifying experience for her. And Prince William denies his family is racist. Prince William, the Duke of Cambridge, defended the royal family against accusations of bigotry made by his brother Prince Henry and sister-in-law Meghan. Meghan Markle and Prince Henry exchanged vows and rings at their wedding in 2018. The fallout from Oprah Winfrey's interview with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle continues. For anyone still fuming about it, the satirist Mark Humphries and his co-writer Evan Williams have created a phone service for you. And that is so funny. Rescue workers research the victims after the crash in Indonesia. A bus carrying school children and some parents plunged into the ravine in Indonesian island of Java on Wednesday night, killing 27 people. The country's transportation minister says that UK police have found suspected human remains in search for missing 33-year-old Sarah Averant. And troubled waters across the Tasman. New Zealand's clean green image hides a dirty truth. polluted by intense dairy farming. Its waterways are becoming some of the most degraded in the world. Will the Arden government clean up, or will the Maori take control? So, these are the news and the breaking news that's all been happening right at this point in time. Well, right now we'll need to go and take a look at what's happening in and around the world. And right now we'll look at the events that have taken place already. Well, Sivratri last night, of course, a big, huge event, and it was so good to see so many people out and about once again, especially, when we look at the Sri Lakshmi Narayan temple last night, and people lined up there in thousands. So, they were all lining up and in a long, long queue, and there were long extended hours of the temple opening as well, and cars were parked in all the streets close by. Each and every little nook and cranny was taken up for that parking. Let's take a look at some of the photos and some videos from last night. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you are. That was the coverage there from Lakshmi Narayan Temple, and you could see that there was lots of people there and big, huge crowds that came in there as well. And it is wonderful to see that many people came in, but in a very orderly fashion, in a very orderly manner. And I must congratulate the organizers in organizing such a beautiful event and in such a manner. It was like you had the feel of being in a temple in India, because there was lots of people, crowd, but the management was very orderly, and it was so good to see, and a proud proud moment for Vishnu Maya Sri Lakshmi Narayan Temple in Fairbanks. For of course, Vishnu Maya Mandir had their function last night as well. All the temples did hold their functions, but this sorts and clips were from Sri Lakshmi Narayan Temple last night. Well, right now, let's go and take a look at one of the other functions which just happened this morning. And as we know, you're very hard-working local, your MP, the Trevor Evans, and there was this breakfast meeting this morning at the Broncos League Club. And you can see Krista Adams there as well, and Peter Maddock as well. And there's the president of the Paddington Business Hub addressing everyone at the Broncos League Club this morning. And of course, Darren Lockyer joining in with Trevor Evans. It was good to see him there as well, and what he had to say about women, and how they can contribute and how they will be welcomed into this sport as well. So it was good to see him there, and all this, as you can see, posing there with us for the photo as well. And very well attended function. Councillor Vicky Howard was there as well. So lots of councillors and everyone there this morning.
And that started as soon as Adrian tied on the Lord Mayor's shoes, but it's really become important as we come out of COVID. I'm not
Councillor Krista Adams,
but as we come out and we adjust to what's happening after COVID, how we support businesses to make sure that they can move forward and just get stronger and stronger, because we recognise that with over 90,000 small businesses, it is the biggest part of our economy in Brisbane.
I know we've got some great people here from local small businesses, and I thought that I would start with a small anecdote. I've got a big smile on my face today, and I have done for a few weeks now, because tomorrow morning is the very last shift that my parents, my mum and dad, will work in small business in their careers. So they've sold their small business and they are retiring as of this weekend, and this will mean that they have worked side by side in a number of small businesses now for 42 years, and they haven't killed each other. So they are a real model of small business success, and maybe retirement will be the thing that ultimately does. Launch at the Tivoli for the Broncos, when was it, last weekend? And you just announced the side. Last year was tough for everyone in business. It was tough for the Broncos. It was tough for so many people. How's this season going to go?
Morning, everyone. Thanks, Trev.
Darren Lockyer, the man himself, is speaking.
That's an experience I don't really want to go through again. But Kevy's a very likeable bloke. He's pretty happy-go-lucky sort of guy. That doesn't win football games, but you can tell with the players that they're in a happier place. And as we all know, with the business or work or sport, if we're happier, we tend to want to produce more on the field. And I think tonight will be a tough test. Parramatta Eels are a tough team, but close to 30,000 in a night, I think it'll be a great atmosphere. And I'll tell you, I guess I'll know tomorrow how the Broncos are going to fare this year.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, the Business Hub breakfast at Paddington at the Broncos League Club this morning, and a special guest there was Darren Lockyer. So it's wonderful to see that company and the community support and great work that Trevor's doing out in the community. And one of the things that he mentioned was about the shuttle that will run up on the terrace, and that's been federally funded. But Trevor did mention that he was happy that to deliver a package like that, the ground, meaning that the council was very supportive as well. Arranging the funds is one thing, and delivering that is another matter. So when federal government and local government work together, they can deliver great results. And that's what's happening in this instance. So that's been announced as one of the great announcements that came out there. So it's wonderful to see that the collaboration between the two. So right now it's time to take a look at one of our sponsors.
Net Realty. Net Realty has been the longest established, Trusted and respected agency in its trade area, Washa Chandra, Director of Net Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralty.com.au. Net Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. Net Realty. Real estate is our world.
And real estate is the world, and as we've talked about real estate, as we know that every Wednesday, Usha Chandra brings to you the real estate life update right here on this channel. While talking about life updates, let's take a look at what's happening around the country. Well, here's a live coverage from our Prime Minister, and let's see what he has to say.
Thank you for having us here today, and it's great to have representatives of the dealers here today, motor dealers and the motor traders. Before I come to that though, I just want to make a couple of points about some international matters before dealing with the announcement of today. First of all, I'm looking forward very much to, much later this evening, in fact the early hours of tomorrow morning, I will be joining President Biden and Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Suga from Japan in what will be the first ever leaders meeting of what is known as the Quad. This is a historic meeting of 4 leaders from these nations which are such close friends, and I'm looking forward to the discussions that we'll be having over a range of topics, in particular how we're dealing in the region with COVID-19, the challenges that we have of security and the maritime domain here across the Indo-Pacific, and also of course how we're working together to achieve net zero into the future on emissions and move to a new energy economy right across the Indo-Pacific region and indeed around the world. And I'm sure there'll be many other issues that we address and the technology partnerships that will be necessary to achieve those goals. So it is an historic moment, and I think it does demonstrate Australia's agency in the world. This is something that we have been working towards for many years now. It has been a goal of ours to see the leaders' meeting of the Quad come together. There have been meetings of foreign ministers, there have been many other meetings, but when governments come together at the highest level, this shows a whole new level of cooperation to create a new anchor for peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific, and working with important other partners in the region, in particular the ASEAN nations and their view of the Indo-Pacific, which so much informs our own. So looking forward to that tonight. It will be in the wee small hours of tomorrow morning, but I can assure you I'll be bright-eyed as we engage in what will be an incredibly important gathering for Australia. Also in international news, the OECD candidacy's gone into extra time. It's in the golden point, I can tell you, right now. And while Matthias Cormann may not have been an NRL fan, but an AFL fan, I'm sure he is getting all the support that is necessary, and I really want to thank him and the whole team and all of those around the world that I've engaged with over these many months. A very important role that Australia is seeking to have our nominee accede to. The OECD brings together like-minded countries from all around the world, like-minded liberal democracies from the Americas, from Asia Pacific, from Europe and across to the United Kingdom. We've been a member since its foundation, and we're very pleased for the first time to be putting ourselves forward for such a unique international role. But we're here today at this dealership because for me, motor dealers have been a touchstone through the course of the pandemic. Early on, I was one of those, in fact on some occasions, a very lonely voice, when there were those who thought we should shut the car dealerships down during COVID-19. And I said we can't do that. There was no need to do that. Many of the dealerships, as we see here, people are outside, they're very large buildings, and there's the room and the space where these things could be managed, and we fought very hard to ensure that dealerships stayed open. But we didn't stop there. JobKeeper has been a lifeline to the dealerships right across the country. In fact, Bill Gibson's here. and the operations they have and the hundreds of employees they have. They graduated off JobKeeper at the end of September, but for that 6-month period, it held this business together. It held the employees, the apprentices, the others who are part of this business together. Now they've graduated from JobKeeper. And as they've graduated from JobKeeper, they've seen their own business really start to improve. And most recent data from new vehicle sales is showing, particularly amongst utes and ute sales, that is driving a lot of the recovery we're seeing in retail sales across the country. And that is the evidence of the comeback of our economy. And it is the evidence of how businesses, small, medium, even large, family businesses like the one we have here, have been able to make their way through, their Australian way through the COVID-19 pandemic and be part of what is a striking recovery here in Australia that is leading the world out of the COVID-19 recession. But there are not just COVID-19 impacts that hit dealerships like these and many around the world. The agency model, the way dealers work with manufacturers is changing. And recently you'll know that the government took very strong steps to hold the big tech multinational companies to account and redress the balance of power imbalance that existed for media companies and that existed for news media organisations in this country. We have a reputation as a government of standing up to large multinationals to ensure that Australian companies get a fair go. And the same is true for motor dealers here in Australia. And so what we're announcing today, after much consultation and working with the sector, is we'll be moving forward on a very similar basis to the way that we've been dealing with those big tech companies, with the big manufacturing companies and multinationals from overseas. Now I know many of those companies will welcome those changes, those big manufacturers from overseas, and I'm pretty confident that the ones that Edwina works with will welcome those sorts of changes. But there'll be others. They're going to need a bit of the treatment that we had to apply to those big tech multinationals to get them around the table and to ensure that Australian companies got a fair deal. And so the arrangements we're announcing today is to put into place mandatory requirements on the good faith bargaining that is required, increased penalties for those who breach those arrangements. We expect big multinational companies to deal with Australian companies fairly and to do the right thing. They're not allowed to come and ride roughshod and justify it on the changes to their business models for decisions taken in other parts of the world. We want to ensure that our Australian companies continue to provide the great service. And here in this company you can see what that means for ordinary Australians. New apprentices taking on, boosting apprenticeships around the country, getting their chance. People who have come to this country from other countries, migrated here, got their skills, like Reza, who runs this shop floor right here, now training others and bringing them forward. That's what family businesses like this do, and we're backing them in, and we will stand up to the multinationals on their behalf and make sure they get a fair deal. I'm going to ask Michaelia Cash to take you through.
And of course, everyone needs to get a fair deal, and well said there, Prime Minister. And of course, looking forward to that. The news coming out of the OCD, the Quad meeting, and of course Prime Minister Modi and Joe Biden all joining into that. And it will be wee hours of the morning for our Prime Minister. But well, tomorrow maybe we'll be able to, if we are provided with that transcript, we will bring to you that report tomorrow as well. Well, right now we'll take a look at the Minister for Tourism with that big announcement.
No. I was just being annoying, really.
Ready to roll.
Well, good morning. It's an absolute pleasure to be back here at Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary and to have with me the Tourism Minister, Dan Tehan, my Gold Coast colleagues, Mr Stuart Robert, Angie Bell, the member for Moncrief, and of course we also have here the General Manager of Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary, Michael Kelly. So there has been a significant announcement from the federal government that will support tourism, not just here on the Gold Coast, but right across Australia. Now, a few weeks ago, we had Minister Tehan here on the Gold Coast meeting with many of our stakeholders. He's taken on board the advice that he's received from them and for other parts of the sector across Australia, and has been able to deliver a significant package to support tourism. Now, here on the Gold Coast, we understand how important tourism is for us. So we have been quite badly hit over the last 12 months by the impacts of COVID. So this package, the $1.2 billion package that was announced yesterday, will make a great deal of difference to us here on the Gold Coast. Now, what I'd like to do is introduce Michael Kelly to speak specifically about the impact of that package on Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary and more broadly on the sector.
Thank you, Minister, and welcome, Minister, to the Gold Coast and to Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary. It's great to welcome you here and welcome you back to the Gold Coast as well. Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuaries have been here for 73 years, and through our history we've obviously been pivotal in driving tourism on the Gold Coast. And obviously 2020 was quite a challenging year for us. So, you know, having the support of the federal government, both through the federal government's JobKeeper program, but also through the Zoo and Aquarium support package, has been really vital in
So this support package here will come in very, very handy as well. Of course, we know that there have been questions about who was consulted and how the destinations were chosen, and of course those aircrafts as well. Well, right now let's get an update from Deputy Premier MP Stephen Miles, and let's get our local perspective.
Stephen Miles, Deputy Premier. Everyone's got good audio?
Yeah, we're ready to go.
Excellent. Set?
Yep.
Yeah.
Australian Indian Radio, ready.
Thank you. Okay. Well, this is a really very exciting announcement. These patches are the future of medicine. They will allow us to monitor just about anything that you can test with a blood test, either in real time or as required. We can put them on patients in hospitals, relieving our nurses, giving them more time to take care of patients. But people can also be wearing them at home and in their workplace, and they can monitor things like their hydration levels, predict whether they might be about to experience a heart attack, so that we can administer treatment faster, ultimately save lives. This is technology created here in the backstreets of Brisbane, and together Wear Optimo and the Queensland Government and their partners intend to take this to the next level, commercialise manufacturing, manufacture 26 million of them every year in a new facility here in Brisbane. In the process, we'll create something like 90 jobs. So this has come from small beginnings right here, Mark, and I can see how proud you are, to something that will be in the market, saving lives at first here in Australia and the United States, but after that the world. Did you want to say something about it?
Sure. Well, thank you. And you did such a great job explaining what our project's about. So I'm delighted to be here today. Really the key word that comes to mind for me is time. Our micro wearables, they're all about buying time for people. When a situation comes up where you need a rapid readout that can make a difference, that's what the micro wearable is for. So in some ways, it's important to reflect on this point in time that we're at as well. So it's a journey here that Wear Optimo has been taking, where we've started from humble beginnings, as you rightly said, Minister, and we're excited to be here today because this is an important next step on our journey. This is a project that's of the scale of the order of about $30 million, and it's here in Brisbane, and it's to make end-to-end production of micro wearables, up to 26 million micro wearables per year within the next couple of years, with our partners. And our partners, I'll introduce you to them just now. Our partners are, of course, the Queensland Government. But in addition to that, we have, I guess the banners probably illustrate it quite nicely, but the people behind it are important to point out as well. So the Australian National University, so I'm delighted to say Keith Nugent is here today, our Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Research and Innovation. But also the Australian National Fabrication Facility, and the CEO, Ian Griffiths, is over here as well, and you'll hear from both of them in a moment.
So once again, a very, very good collaboration into the next stage of life. But I can see many people might be, bit, that we don't want to be traced. We don't want everyone to know about our affairs. But anyway, it's a good move and creating so many jobs and done right here in Brisbane. So that is so wonderful. Well, right now, let's go and take a look at some of the functions and events taking place over the weekend. Now I'll pause on this one here, which is the BMAC Live, a garland of languages. It is going to be a wonderful event taking place tomorrow night at Queensland Multicultural Centre. Please do come along and support this very, very talented artist, as you have seen in that interview which we conducted from this station. The annual Gopio Queensland's Girmit Divas, this is a date claimer, 14th of May. As we know, it is always on the 14th of May, and once again at the Queensland Multicultural Centre. So, ladies and gentlemen, those the functions and events taking place in the weekend. There's lots that's happening already. As I mentioned before, that if you are attending functions, please do take care and, exercise those hygienic manners that we have picked up during this COVID-19. One thing good coming out of there is that, the way we are treating our hygiene, or the way we look at things, we become more conscious. That's all it is. Even when we're standing in crowd, meeting people and all other things, washing hands frequently and all those things. So we've become more aware now than we were before. So which is good to see. Well, right now it's goodbye from me until tomorrow when we come with the weekend edition, and it is going to be another great segment. We'll bring to you lots of functions and events that have been taking place around the areas. As this new format is where with the news, with the main news is that I do just read the news. We have to keep in line with everyone's rules and regulations, including the platforms on which we stream on. So we need to be guided by their policies and principles and always try and do the right thing. Unaware, many times people do make some mistakes, but sometimes people make mistakes knowingly, and that is not very good. Well, it's been wonderful having your company. It's always so good to see you. Until tomorrow, it's goodbye from me. Enjoy the rest of the beautiful day, which I can see out of here, looking all the way up to the bay. Looks beautiful out there, and enjoy the day and take care in your work and remain safe. Until tomorrow, it's goodbye from me.